Hey folks, Jess here from NextLX. And at NextLX, we're building a simulated on-the-job training platform using AI. So you can go to nextlx.com and read a little bit about the product experience and kind of what we're trying to accomplish. A lot more to do with the website, but it should at least give you a feel for what we're thinking about. But today, what I wanted to share with you is a quick demonstration of one little facet of the NextLX experience. This is a demo that I've been putting together for the last 4 days, so it's still it's a little baby of a product, but I think it gives you a feeling for where we're at. And yeah, hope to be sharing these kind of updates with people regularly. So let's just jump in. So here's our hero, Tony. Tony is a cashier at a hardware store in Milan, Michigan, and he loves fly fishing, WWE, stonks and crypto with friends, just a regular guy. Doesn't really love his job though. He's looking for a new job, and so one day he is looking at the local indie newspaper, browsing through the classifieds, and he comes across an interesting ad: 4x your earnings at NextLX, a free virtual trade school. So he goes to nextlx.com, goes through a quick interview process where he's doing some basic testing and that kind of stuff, and pretty soon he's hired as a marketing intern at Chainlink Agency. And the difference with Chainlink Agency is that this is not a real company, but a simulated company. And all of his coworkers at this company are also AI coworkers. And as he's going through his work there, he's working with the real tools that you would work with in a remote company. So he has a chat room, he's working on a document. And in this first 12 days of his time at Chainlink, he's working with a coworker named Alex. Alex is a senior marketing manager there. And they're working on a project to put together a one pager about one of their clients. And it's going well, except for the fact that, like many professionals in the workplace today, Alex isn't super responsive, and this is not his top priority. So he's not really giving Tony the time that he needs and the feedback he needs to move the project along. So you can see that 5 days ago, Tony was pinging Alex about getting the one pager ready and needed some feedback from him. 4 days ago, he reached out again, and finally, at the end of the day, Alex says, "Hey, I'm delayed." Then Tony reaches out again the next morning and the next afternoon. And all along, as he's doing this work, he's being prompted by a mentor that he has of like, hey, you need to reach out and let him know that you need feedback and ask for it. So 2 days ago, he finally hears back from Tony, and Tony gives him a little bit of feedback on the draft. And then, uh, Alex gives him feedback on the draft. And Tony quickly executes on that feedback and turns it in. Alex gives him the thumbs up, says it looks good, and Tony's feeling good. He has completed his first project, this draft about this company called Shotcoin, and things are going well. Until he logs in to stand up the next simulated morning, and he sees Alex's stand up message, in which Alex says, hit a few snags with Tony on getting the Shotcoin one pager, his first project, out the door, but better late than never. Ouch. So Tony has a choice. He needs to address this criticism that Alex is leveling implicitly in a company-wide stand-up update. How will Tony respond to this? How will Alex respond to this? So let's find out. So one thing about the NextLX product experience before I drop you into the actual demo is the experience of working on NextLX or with NextLX is you're working with the actual tools, like I mentioned. So you're in a Discord chat with all of your coworkers. You have a Kanban where all of your tasks are sitting, and you can move those through. You can see other people's tasks. You can see them changing over time. You have a calendar, email, Google Drive where you can work on deliverables together. And your NPC coworkers are all working in those same spaces. So it's very similar to working in a remote working environment. So in just a minute, we're going to drop into a Discord chat room that's basically a private chat between Alex and Tony. So let's go ahead and do that now. Jump over into Discord. All right, and you can see that Alex is actually in this chat with me, and the question now is, how should Tony respond? Now, in the real product experience, you would actually see in this direct message channel all of the back and forth with Alex as Discord messages here. So all that back and forth I showed in the TLDraw whiteboard. But for the sake of this demo, we needed to kind of accelerate time to a very specific point. So those messages that you saw in the whiteboard are stored in our database, and thus they're in the AI's memory as we rag those in, but they're not here in Discord. So back to Tony. How should he respond? He was offered training from his mentor on how to give feedback, but he actually refused. Tony's a bit hot-headed, and he's ticked off. Things seem to be going well at Chainlink, and he wants out of the hardware store. So instead of offering, like, really thinking about how the feedback would work, he jumps in right after stand-up and decides to just blast Alex. So, hey, Alex, I can't believe you called me out like that in the stand-up. It's not my fault. The project was delayed. You're the one who wasn't responding to my messages. Let's see how Alex responds. Oh, here we go again. If you think it's productive to point fingers, Tony, maybe you should reflect on why you felt the need to check in a million times. I'm not your babysitter. We're all busy, so instead of whining about delays, maybe focus on making your parts rock solid and stop relying on me for validation every step of the way. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You told me to check in with you once I had completed a first draft. What was I supposed to do? I was waiting for days for you to get back to me. Clearly, this is not going well. Alex is ticked. Sorry, Tony is ticked. Alex is not responding well. Look, Tony, maybe if you don't need constant hand-holding, we wouldn't be in this mess. I checked in when I could. We're all swamped here. Learn to manage your time without depending on me every second. So clearly we're in a negative feedback loop, right? Like this feedback is not being received by Alex. He's not hearing what the impact was on Tony. He's not responding to it well. And Tony is just going off the chain. This is unprofessional behavior. Could lead to some like challenging things for Tony down the road. And this is something that as Dandris and I have worked with people who are going through this upskilling process and getting jobs, we found that this is actually one of the areas where people struggle the most. The hard skills of doing their job is important, but dealing with difficult situations like this is really challenging. All right, so because the mentor AI that's part of this simulated workplace can actually see all of the internal communications and can talk with Tony directly, he saw all of the back and forth in the DM and he reaches out and asks Tony if he would like some coaching if he's ready for some coaching on feedback. And Tony says, yes, he is. So in that case, the mentor jumps in with Tony and shares this field guide with him that walks him through a feedback mechanism called the AID feedback, action, impact, desire. And through back and forth conversing with his mentor, Tony's able to identify the action that frustrated him. During the stand-up today, your update on the Shotcoin project implied that I was responsible for the delays and struggling with my first project. And he was able to quantify the impact that this had on him. This phrasing could lead others to question my competence and ability to handle my responsibilities, which doesn't accurately reflect our communication on this project. And then he was able to say what he wanted to happen, his desired outcome. Going forward, I would appreciate it if you could discuss any concerns about my performance with me privately first, so we can work together to address them and communicate more effectively to the team. Great. So that's the way that Tony should have delivered feedback. Fortunately, since this is a virtual company, we can actually rewind to the point before Tony confronted Alex about the stand-up message, and he can replay, try again. So let's go over to Discord into this Simcoe second. You can kind of see the scenario has been reset. So we are now at the point right after the stand-up message, but Tony has not said anything to Alex yet. Let's see how Alex responds to feedback delivered using the AID model. I'm just going to paste in those exact lines during the stand-up today. Here's the action, the impact, and the desired outcome. Alex says, "Hey, Tony, I hear you. You're right. My phrasing was off, and I did not mean to imply any of that. Let's definitely discuss any issues privately first in the future. Appreciate you bringing this up, and I'll make sure our updates are more balanced going forward." Thanks for hearing me on this, Alex. It feels good to know. No problem, Tony. I'm glad we could sort it out. Let's keep the momentum. Feels good to know that we can talk through conflict and arrive at a healthy resolution. I was really nervous to bring this up with you. I'm glad we could talk it through too, Tony. It's important we feel comfortable addressing stuff like this. Let's keep the lines open so we can get things done smoothly. All right. So now Tony has had an experience of tangibly learning how to do conflict resolution in the workplace using the tools that he would normally use, like Discord and that kind of stuff. And he was able to run through that scenario a few times, getting coaching from a mentor until he was able to feel confident that he could deliver feedback using this model. All right, so if we zoom out, really what we believe with NextLX is that the whole future of work is changing. The nature of the workplace in general with AI enabled work is going to change. Each individual role in the workplace is going to change, and the tools that you're working with are also going to change. So this whole center section that we're training towards is going to change over the next several years. And what we believe that we can provide is we can bring the ability to take this learning objective that we know that people need to learn and then use AI to generate learning scenarios that are then facilitated through this in the real world, in a simulated working environment. And we can also bring this private AI mentorship component to train them in the flow of work, how to deal with challenging situations. So um, thanks for listening and hanging out for the demo. That's where we're at, 4 days into building this fun little project experience. I hope to drop more demos like this in the future. And as we build towards this simulated workplace with a bunch of AIs working together with tools, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're not in our Discord, you should totally come hang out. I'm building a lot of this out loud and dropping demos like this whenever I can. So thanks for listening. See ya.